Hey, this is Jared Dees from thereligionteacher.com. In the Gospel of John, Jesus says, I give you a new commandment. So what is the meaning, the significance of the new commandment that Jesus gives? But let's review the commandments in the Bible. We've got in the Old Testament many laws given from God to the people of God. Most popular, of course, are the 10 Commandments, the core of God's law. The 10 Commandments are summarized by the greatest commandments. Somebody asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment of God's law? And the response is, love God and love your neighbor. And the great thing about that great commandment, love God and love your neighbor, is they summarize the 10 Commandments. If you look close at the 10 Commandments, they could break them easily apart as loving God and loving your neighbor. But in the Gospel of John, Jesus goes even further to say, not just love God and love your neighbor, but if you want to learn how to love God, if you want to learn how to love your neighbor, do this. Love like Christ. Love one another as I have loved you, he said. That's the new commandment. And how did Jesus love? Well, when he said that, it was in the context of washing his disciples' feet. He was a servant for the disciples. He was humble before the disciples and says, as I have done, you should also do. But think about that moment. What is happening right after this experience with the disciples? When he says, love one another as I have loved you, he goes and he lays down his life for his people, for his friends. That Jesus died for others. That's how to love. That's the commandment that we are to take on. He says elsewhere in other Gospels, take up your cross and come follow me. If we are to love, we must love like Christ. Die to ourselves and love others. Selflessly give ourselves to God and to our neighbors. That's the new commandment, the only new commandment that Jesus gives. All the other laws he just fulfills. He doesn't change, as he says in the Gospels, but he gives this new commandment to follow in his footsteps, to die for others as a true expression of love. Go make disciples. God bless.